do it. Fabulous. Okay, so hello and welcome. My name is Stacy Hartman, and I'm going to get straight to the point. I am absolutely tickled pink and humbled to be here with you today. But there is a brand new opportunity for coaches and entrepreneurs like you to master sales and use that ability to truly create a massive income, all while also making a really big difference in the world. And you don't have to sacrifice your freedom or your time or your bank accounts to make all that happen. And the most important thing is you don't have to sacrifice your sanity. That's the best part, right? As entrepreneurs, we can feel like we're going a little crazy every once in a while. But what you're going to be learning in today's workshop is how to approach sales in a way that feels 100% authentic and genuine to you. So we're redefining sales so that you can break through the things that are keeping you from closing more clients so that you can reach the income and the impact that you want to have in the fastest way possible. What I'm going to teach today is going to be pretty bold, but the truth is that getting the sale and getting clients and building your business isn't nearly as complicated as you might think it is or as it's maybe felt. And it doesn't need to take years of grueling work or doing things in a way that can make your skin crawl to become wildly profitable. In fact, the wisdom and the exercises I'm sharing in today's training have taken myself and my clients to incredible new heights within just a matter of a few short months. And it's really just a few small tweaks in a sales approach. Today, I'm going to reveal to you exactly what's been stopping you from getting you what you want in your business and how to break through the fear and that ickiness and any of that old school sales mentality that's been maybe robbing you of achieving your biggest visions for your business and your life. And we'll also dig into exactly what sales strategies are working right now. This live workshop is cutting edge and a must-watch, and I congratulate you for investing your time and energy in being here and capitalizing on this opportunity to create the ultimate business full of clients, full of purpose, and a steady income at the same time. So there's no fluff, no BS. What I'm covering is exactly what's allowed me to grow my coaching business from 0 to 5-figure months in 90 days, my clients to double their income, triple their rates, quit their jobs, all in pursuit of their dream business. So I'm challenging you to leave here today with a new framework. And this framework gives you 100% permission to be bold in showing up as the powerful, perfect, and unlimited person that you are, and to no longer be afraid of selling your services and products to the people who need them the most. Because I'm going to cover a lot of ground really fast, and I do talk really fast, as many of you have probably already gathered, I'm going to ask that we save all questions for the end. I'm going to keep the line open. I'll answer any burning questions you have after we get through all of the information. Sound fair? So please give yourself this gift. Shut off the distractions. Shut down Facebook. God, I love Facebook. It's so distracting though, right? Grab a notebook and pen, close your door, and really allow yourself to focus in and invest this time into yourself and into your business. Each and every one of you are probably in a helping profession, and you give so much to your clients and to other people. This is your chance to really focus on you. So before we go any further, I want to make sure that everybody's in the right place. This webinar is designed for you if you are an entrepreneur who is committed to creating a full-time income by helping others. And when I talk about commitment, I mean doing whatever it takes, no matter what, because your conviction about sharing your gift and your mission is so strong. If you're somebody who's run through the gamut of how-to books or tried to figure out how to grow your business on your own, but you've had limited success or not the results that you really want and you're ready to turn it around, you're in the right place. If you aren't scared of doing the work that it's going to take to get you where you want to be, I mean, let's face it, you've probably heard a bajillion strategies around business. The strategies are not hard. That's not the hard part. It's not complicated. The hard part is that your business is already and will continue forever to stretch you, and it's constantly pulling you into this unknown realm, and the fears that come with that space is exactly the stuff that makes this shit really hard. So sales is an inside game, and connecting more fully to yourself and your higher power is absolutely essential to your success, but the actual strategies that I'm sharing today are not rocket science. If you feel confused about how to do a sales in a way that doesn't feel pushy or awkward, you're going to love this presentation. And if you value direct, honest, to the point communication, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable or if it's hard to hear, then we're going to be a great match. So thank you for joining me. And if any of that doesn't really describe you, I would love for you to save your time and go ahead and just hop off, because I can be really forward and blunt, and if that's not a fit for you, I value your time too much to waste it. So here's what we're going to be covering. We're going to talk about the 5 easy steps to turn simple conversations into high-paying clients and cash, even if you hate selling, how to master the inner game of sales that has your ideal clients begging to work with you. I'm going to expose 3 of the most common and sneaky glitches in sales conversations and mindset beliefs that actually chase clients away and kill our bottom line. And I'm going to share the #1 question that makes your prospects say yes and sell themselves without having to feel pushy or salesy at all. So in addition to that, there's going to be piles of other little sales mindset nuggets and all kinds of other stuff just thrown in there. I could certainly talk about sales and building business and making money for hours, but I only have a limited amount of time with you today. So please know that before I get off this training, I'll give you an opportunity to take this information deeper and to fully master sales in an authentic way. So I urge all of you to stick around to the end, because you're going to have an opportunity to take this information much farther. So typically at this point, people start to dig into their really long and boring bios about all the amazing things they've accomplished and what makes them so spectacular to bring you this information. But rather than digging into all the boring and actually fabulous details of my life and career, I want to know if it'd be okay if I shared a personal story with you instead. So what do you think? Would you be okay with that if I skipped like the whole curriculum vitae resume stuff? Go ahead and raise your hand and let me know if that works for you. I see some hands going up. Perfect. All right, good. We're on the same page. So I'm going to skip that piece. So what I want to share is actually something really personal. And it's something I don't share with a lot of people, but I felt really called to share it as a part of my journey with you today. About 5 years ago, I remember I took a day, and I was playing hooky for my job, and my previous job was as a juvenile probation officer. I worked with a bunch of naughty kids, which is kind of wild, but I recall waking up that day, and I was just in a funk. And I opened my eyes, and it was almost as though my entire life flashed before my eyes, and I was instantly depressed about how mundane and lifeless my life felt. Anybody experience that? It's just like you just get this feeling like there's got to be more. This can't be all there is. And for me, it was pretty intense. I didn't feel joy in very much at all. In fact, I didn't even really feel joy in being a mom to my 2 sons. And at that time, I had a newborn and a 3-year-old. I didn't have the motivation to do anything. And that day, it's embarrassing to say, but I didn't even have the motivation to like brush my teeth or take a shower. But with some divine intervention, it's this exact same day that changed my life forever. So I was flipping through these channels, and somehow O Network grabbed my attention. God dang it, Oprah always seems to grab us at the most trying moments. But I found a movie by Dr. Wayne Dyer called The Shift. Have you heard of that movie? If you haven't, I highly recommend it, because the movie literally saved my life. At one point in the movie, I gotta find there it is. At one point in the movie, there was this frazzled and kind of young family, and they were hiking in the woods, and they had 2 little boys. So I mean, it was like my mirrored family. And the boys were playing sticks with their dad, and the dad was playfully chasing them through the woods, and the mom was falling behind. But when she got to the top of the hill, there was this clearing in the trees, and it just stopped her in her tracks. And the trees seemed to just part and open up, and they opened up to this amazingly beautiful view of a lake that was smooth as glass. And she was immediately overcome with serenity and peace. And that anxiety and that dullness of her mundane life just disappeared. She got totally lost in the beauty. And she was so lost that under her breath she whispered, "I could paint this. I could paint this." And her thoughts were immediately interrupted by her oldest son, who said, "Mom, you don't paint." And it was in that moment that she realized her children had no idea who she really was, that she had been lost in being a mom and in being a wife and all of her other roles. And while she poured into that, she let pieces of herself go, just wither and die inside. Now, what this has to do with me is, at this point, I am on my knees, bawling my eyes out. Thank God nobody was home, because I realized I had completely let my dreams and aspirations go to live this normal life. But normal wasn't me. And while I was sad for myself, I was even more sad that I hadn't fully shared myself with my kids and my husband. I mean, why hadn't I? What was I hiding from? And at that moment, I made a fast choice. And I promised myself that I was going to start playing full out. No holding back, no more fear, no more mediocrity. I wanted to show my kids that they can do, be, and have everything that they want in their life. I didn't want to be a mom who told them one thing and did another thing in my own life. So within 1 year, I quit my job. I don't take baby steps, I take big leaps. Launched my first business where I worked with kids at risk of dropping out, raised $250,000 to support that mission, and then 2 years later took another big leap and launched my second business where within 3 months I had my first 5-figure month. I thought I was just doing what every entrepreneur did. And then people started asking me to help them take these big, gigantic leaps instead of baby steps too. The problem was that I didn't really know how the heck I did it. I just knew I had a burning desire and a sense of urgency to make a significant change in my life. But then the answer came to me. Are you ready to hear the answer? It might surprise you, and it certainly isn't the answer that most people think it's going to be. I had realized that I had to master 2 things every step of the way. And most entrepreneurs and coaches that I come across tend to master either one or the other. First of all, I had to get in touch with my inner business guru or true self. Your inner self is what makes you really comfortable with being uncomfortable. And when I did that, everything changed. That means getting over yourself, getting really brave, really courageous, doing things in spite of your resistance, your fears, and insecurities. Running a business takes some major balls or ovaries. Either way, you got to have a pair. But what I also learned was I had to trust myself. And I had to trust other people. And I had to trust in my journey and my higher power completely. This was the switch that was flipped on the couch that day. And when I connected to this unlimited and powerful higher self, the ideas started flooding into my mind. And that's when the miracles started to unfold in my business. The second thing is I had to figure out how to really implement all those ideas. So many entrepreneurs are very creative, right? I'm guessing each and every one of you is very creative, and you're idea heavy, but implementation light a lot of times. And so as I did kind of a life inventory, I realized that everything I'd accomplished up until now required me selling. You all sell yourselves constantly, and you don't even know you're doing it. And you know, when I think about my own path, I use that skill to sell juvenile delinquents, to get clean, to go to school, to change their lives. I used it to fundraise and ask for money from donors. I was selling everywhere I was going, and I didn't even know I was doing it. I didn't even consider it selling because, of course, I always believed that sales sucked. Like, who would want to do sales? And once I saw sales in a new light and for what it really is, and what it really is the transference of inspiration, I started teaching others my methods. And guess what? It worked for them too. It was one of those like, is this really happening? Really, it works for everybody. And so now I get to help mission-driven entrepreneurs like yourselves do the same thing. And that's my deep purpose. So that's why we're here today. That's how we got here today. And my story's just beginning, and your story's just beginning. Your story's not over yet. There are so many people out there waiting for exactly what you have to offer. But in order to reach those people, you must master sales. And in order to truly make a difference in the world, you must redefine sales in a way that propels you forward rather than holds you back. I know, sometimes you want to throw in the towel and go back to that safe and secure place, but I also know there's a little fire in your heart that's screaming at you, like yelling, shouting at you to get out there, share your gifts with the world. You want more because you are more. You have something very unique and amazing to share with people, and they're waiting for you, and that's why we're here today. but you have to master sales in order to master your life and your financial freedom. Broke people can't change the world. Trust me, I tried. I tried for a long time. And my mission is to help you become wildly profitable so you can pour into the causes and the movements that matter the most to you, even if it's just under your own roof. My mission is to help create that ripple effect and change the world by using sales as the vehicle. But it all starts with falling in love with sales and making more money in your business. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to doing whatever it takes to create a business that feeds your soul and your bank account in a way that creates an ultimate life of freedom and purpose? Go ahead and enter your answer in the question box. See a 9 from Karen, 10 from Kristen, 9, 10, 9s and 10s coming across. Sherry, Carolina, 10s, Julie, Shane, John, 9. And John, I saw you asked a question. I'll come back to it at the end, okay? Aaron, 9. 9s and 10s across the board. Outstanding. And for some of you who aren't there yet, that's okay. That's okay. Just start really, I would guess that the people who aren't quite at that full commitment yet, they've still got a plan B back there, or they haven't totally closed the door on their safety net. And so then we're kind of trying to juggle, like, we got an out. And so just really explore, you know, what would make it a 10? And do you want it to be a 10? And so that's, you know, that's the work that has to be done as entrepreneurs if there's anybody that's, you know, below the 9s and 10s that are really just on the fence. And that's why you're here today, is to help get more clarity about that. So what I'm sharing today has helped people from all walks of life and people with all kinds of different goals. So it helped people like Terry get a huge promotion in her direct selling company, becoming one of the top 1% in direct sales, breaking well over the 6-figure-a-year mark. And Sandra, who was filled with complacency and fear and confusion when we started, and within a couple of short months, it just so happened at the same time she was having a baby, discovered her life purpose, monetized it, created a business around it. She's working less and making more, consistently closing 50% of her prospects into paying clients, doubled her rates, and filled her coaching practice with 12 clients in 3 months. And then Veronica, who was also spinning her wheels and overwhelmed with starting her business, but within 2 months got her first couple of clients and several leads that are launching her dream coaching business and that give her the freedom to travel and do the things most important to her. Things I'm sharing today is transforming businesses and lives, and I know they can do the same for you, but you have to choose to act on the information. There are a lot of people that wish things would change in their business, but we have to do more than wish. Hope is not a strategy. Taking action in spite of fear and breaking through the limiting mindset beliefs that you have about sales and marketing will turn that wish into reality, just like it has for Terry, Veronica, Sandra, and countless others. All right, let's dig in and deliver on exactly what I promised you. So before I do that, how many of you cringe at the thought of doing sales or asking for the sale? How many of you feel resistance at that part of your business when you're asking for the sale or making your offer? Me. Definitely. Yes, you're not alone. Yes. Yeah, you're not alone, right? I mean, that's just the reality. And so let's face it, nobody likes to sell and nobody likes to feel sold, especially with a hard sell. So it's uncomfortable and it's awkward, and we're going to go through a way to have an enrollment conversation that doesn't feel that way and that actually has your prospects asking to work with you. A lot of times they'll ask to work with you before you even mention your programs or services. But before we do that, I want to share some myths and glitches that we hear around sales that kind of perpetuate some of the ickiness we feel around it. The first myth is that selling is a numbers game. Selling is only a numbers game if you want to waste your time and money going after sales that have no chance of success. It's a numbers game when we're just throwing our message out there to see what sticks. What I mean by this is when you aren't super clear on who you can help and the results you can bring them, you are blindly pulling people in and your message will be too vague to close the sale. Or in other words, you aren't fully connecting to your prospect in a way that screams, I get you, I understand what you're offering, I know that you can help me achieve the results that I'm looking for. That's how clear the message has to be. And when you have that clear of a message, it doesn't matter how many people you put it in front of, it matters getting it in front of the right people. And it's your confidence in your ability to get the results and how you authentically show up in the sales conversation and at networking events when you're gathering leads. When you get a handle on those things, you will have much higher conversion rates, meaning you can talk to less people. It's all about quality, the right people, not quantity. So the more qualified prospects you have, the more sales you're going to make. Selling is 100% a people's game. It's all about building relationships and connecting deeply with your prospects, their biggest desires and their biggest challenges. And it's about being the obvious solution to ending their struggles and getting them the results that they want the most. Well, there's the truth. The second myth is that selling is pushy or salesy or manipulative. We've already talked about this a number of times, right? So raise your hand if you've had a bad experience with sales or being sold to. Hands are going up. So most people have a negative connotation attached to sales because of past experiences that left a really bad taste in your mouth. It's almost as though that experience has created this fear of selling and asking for the sale. So as a result, your business is probably suffering in a big way. All of those past experiences around sales created this myth and the limiting beliefs around sales and making money in your business. A lot of times when you have those experiences, you may be overcompensating based on the fear of being like that salesperson that turned you off. And as a result, you overcompensate in the other way by either not asking for the sale or not asking for it in a confident way because of the fear of appearing like that person. So I'd like to share some more empowering beliefs around sales. These beliefs are based on service, love, and inspiration. And I saw Kristen wrote earlier, I'd rather share information. So these beliefs will definitely align with your perspective on sales. What if sales is a sacred and spiritual exchange between two people? What if it inspires people to dream bigger? Sales is that critical moment that helps people step into their power and make a choice. There is so much power in making a decision. You do that in your sales conversation. The minute your prospect decides yes or no, they are clear on what they want or don't want. And what we know is that's the first step in manifesting what they're looking for, their desires. When you master sales, you master your financial freedom and your ability to change the world. Like I mentioned, broke people can't change the world. I tried it in nonprofit, government, and education. And if you really want to make a difference, you need money. That money is going to either free up your time so you can volunteer more or create an impact that you can give, more to more causes that you feel most passionate about. The bottom line is when your bucket's empty, giving doesn't work. And you must have your own needs and desires met first. It's not selfish. It's not selfish. It's the truth. It's the laws of how energy works and moves. Money and sales is just energy. Sales is the only doorway to increasing your income and impact on the world. It doesn't matter what industry you're in or what you're selling or what you're offering. It is the only doorway to exchange money. Whether it's sales in your business or selling your program or getting funding or selling yourself for a promotion, it doesn't matter what the industry is. It is the #1 strategy to create success. Sales is an inside job. And when you know who you really are and you fully claim and receive your worth, that's a beautiful thing. Being good at sales is truly the only way that you can make a difference in your business and in other people's lives. And so it's in your best interest to learn to love sales. The third myth, and probably one of my favorites, is that the reason people aren't buying my services or products is because they can't afford it. There are really only 2 reasons people don't invest in themselves. One, your product or service isn't really a fit for them and their circumstances. If this is the case, you've probably already determined it throughout the conversation, or maybe throughout the sales conversation, some bigger issues started to reveal themselves. The things that are holding them back may not be in your area of expertise. So for example, if you're a business coach and the primary pain point for your prospect's life is around their marriage, then clearly that's something that's going to be interfering with their ability to get results in their business, but also not necessarily an area of expertise for you to help them break through. And this is when, in the sales conversation, you get to turn into a connector. Your only job is to help people get the results that they're looking for, even if that means not working with you. You can refer people on to those more appropriate resources. This is a very powerful, detached place to approach sales from. It strengthens your relationship with your prospect and with strategic partners that you're going to be referring business to. And trust me, after that prospect works through their pain points, their true pain points, they're going to be back to work on that next step with you. They just had the cart before the horse. So they still desire what they sought you out for, but they have to prioritize what comes first. And you get to help them sort that out in the conversation. The second reason people don't buy is because they're afraid. This is the most common underlying objection. People are truly afraid, so much so that they would rather pay the price of staying in the same circumstances than to take a risk and do something different. So as a result, they create a new drama around money so they don't have to face the thing that they're really avoiding. The reality is that when we're in fear, we can't see opportunities and things that are right in front of us. We have mega blind spots. If the desire is there, the money is there. But when fear sneaks in, we can't see it. We get tunnel vision, so we don't have to face our real fears, those fears that we have around success and failure. The truth is that we never run out of money. We run out of ideas, and we can't see it. And when we're in a fear-based place, we can't see all the places that money and opportunities to turn ideas into money are hiding in our lives. There is always enough when we are out of fear. Again, these are just the laws of the universe. This is abundance thinking versus lack thinking. We always have what we need. And when we feel urgency, true urgency, we find a way to get what we really want. And that's the same for your prospect. So I want to illustrate this and just play along with me. I want you to imagine that I am your trusted realtor friend, and I pick up the phone and I call you out of the blue one day. And you answer your phone and I say, listen, a foreclosure just came up and it is amazing. It is in perfect condition and it's an incredible opportunity to make some big money. The house is worth $150,000, and in this market, things are going really fast. But if you can come up with $50,000 in the next hour, it's yours. And you can flip it, and you'll make at least $100,000 in the next few months. But it's going to go quick. They're going to open it up to other realtors really fast, but I can find unless I can find somebody in the next hour. And I thought of you. What would your response be? Are you in? Go ahead and enter some answers. Too scary. Way to be honest, Shane. If I had $50,000, I'd be in. I want you to think about this. So think about how creative you could be getting, right? You might be think about all the places you'd start looking for that money. If it's pretty much close call that and you as a trusted realtor and you knew things were moving, you'd maybe start looking at 0% credit cards or retirement accounts or friends and family, or a bank, or selling stuff out of your house, you name it. But if you really, if that was your thing and that opportunity popped up, you are all so incredibly resourceful, and so are your clients. You'd find a way if you had the urgency enough to make it happen. So you can see it's never really about the money. It's all about the urgency, the sense of urgency, and the ability to see beyond the fear, to see the opportunities, and to take a risk. Okay, so let's talk about the 5 steps to turning conversations into clients. I really wanted to address those myths first because But of course, before we can get into those fear-based objections that come up, we have to have the rest of the sales conversation. And so there's a 5-step sales conversation, that sequence, that works beautifully to close more sales, get more clients, and make a greater impact. So the first step of this sequence is to explore your prospects' challenges and frustrations. You really want to build the pain here. Many people are going to be in denial about how bad things really are. We don't like feeling pain. It's human nature. And so let's just take someone seeking coaching maybe to lose weight. So what's the first thing that you would avoid doing if you're feeling like you've put some extra weight on? Anybody have a quick answer? What do you avoid doing when you've got some extra weight on? Shopping. Yes, Carolina. Eating carbs, going out, yes. Yeah, how about wearing a swimsuit? Absolutely. And we're just finishing up summer, right? Yeah, so it's like every single time that anybody's doing anything with a swimsuit on, it's like, oh, you avoid that like the plague. And how about even just getting on the scale? So you can see in this example, it's so painful. And a lot of times people will come into that situation and think, I just need to lose like 10 pounds. But then all of a sudden they realize the true impact that it's having on their life. The real pain, the dread every time they wake up and look in their closet, the avoidance of hopping on the scale, the inability to fully participate. And maybe it is still only 10 pounds, but the impact is what people are in denial about. So your job in the sales conversation at this point is to really pull that pain out. And just know that by pulling that pain out, you're going to start creating that urgency that we've been talking about, and that it's absolutely critical in getting your prospect to move forward with coaching. This is the pain that even the prospect has rationalized isn't there. And so it's your job in the conversation to fully uncover it, to dig really deep. It's the most uncomfortable thing in the world to be doing, especially as a coach that is service-based and wants to help people, because we don't like seeing people in pain either. But the reality is that in order for you to help them, they have to be really clear about how deep the pain really is and the impact that it's having on all the different areas of their life. From there, you move into your prospect's desires and hopes. This is the reward. This is the reward for going into the deep, dark crevices of pain. And this is where you get to help your prospect paint the picture of what they really want. And you get to challenge them to expand that vision even further than they've allowed themselves up to this point. So it's with this piece that you start stretching the gap, stretching where they are to where they want to be. And one of the most powerful ways to do this is, let's say you ask somebody, they say that their desire is to lose 10 pounds. There's 2 magical words, and it's "so that." And so it's literally just digging deep again into expanding their vision. So that what? And what would that do for you? So that you can what? Why is that important to you? And allow them to really expand that vision out even further than losing 10 pounds and what it means to them. The third step of the enrollment conversation is to share a couple of pieces of advice that's going to help move them forward immediately from their struggle to their desired outcome. I say like 2 pieces of advice, nothing more, because what happens is if we share too much information, you're going to overwhelm your prospect and kill their inspiration to make a change. I see this happen a lot, especially with coaches, is that we learn how to do complimentary sessions by showing people the value of coaching by giving them a free coaching session. But the reality is when we're just straight up coaching people, one of 2 things happen. 1, they get so much information that they become overwhelmed and they become paralyzed to take action. Or 2, they get what they need out of the session, at least they think they do, to at least carry them through, so there's no need for your service in their eyes. And so by sticking to this sort of framework, it allows you to stretch that gap and give them still some service and some help, but not so much that it's going to overwhelm them. And they'll still feel that urgency to need and want more. The 4th step after you share a couple of pieces of advice is to share your full solution, your full offering, of course, if you determine that it's a good fit for what they're looking for. So your offer is what completely bridges them from their frustrations to their biggest desires. And if you determine in that conversation that they're not a fit for you or you're not a fit for them, let them know that, and you can just refer them on to somebody who's a better fit. So this process in and of itself flips on that manifestation switch for your prospects. This is service. Whether they work with you or not, it's a very powerful process that helps them draw in what they desire most because of your ability to take them to their desires and their big vision. And so this is a great service-based way to do sales. All right, and then here's that magical question I mentioned earlier. Are you ready to learn about one of the most powerful questions to close out the sales conversation and increase your sales conversions immediately? Are you ready for that? We're flying. We're just flying through this stuff. So the magic question is, oh, there it is. What do you see as the benefits of moving forward with coaching, this program, this product? This question in and of itself affords your prospect the opportunity to sell themselves on moving forward. It empowers them to make a conscious choice. It makes them create their own sense of urgency, and it's that leads people to make decisions in spite of any objections that they would typically have. I just want to back up real quick here. So when you're sharing your offer, so you move through that whole thing, you share your full offer, which bridges the gap between where they are and where they want to be, it's essential that you focus 90% of your energy when you're sharing your offer on the results that you can help them get, not on the benefits, or not on the features of your offer. So for example, you want to focus on the view and not the window, the end result, or you want to focus on the destination, not the plane. So whenever you're sharing your offer or whatever marketing message you're putting out in the world, it is so critical that you always focus 90% of your energy on the results and the benefits that your prospect can get from working with you. That's another big mistake that I see a lot of people make is we go into explaining what coaching is and what it isn't and how many times we're going to meet and how long we're going to meet, and it's like the only thing that your prospect really, really cares about is to know if you're the person that can get them the results that they're looking for. So that's another thing that will help kind of head off any objections that might come up. So from there, of course, then you go into this magic question: what would be the benefit of getting started with your offer? And after you get through that and you allow them to kind of vent out all of the opportunities that are hiding in your offer for them, it's just simply asking them if they have any questions about getting started and then asking them if they're ready to get started. So of course it's at this point that most people will ask, what is the investment? What is this going to cost? And that's usually people's first question, a lot of people's, although I will say that a number of people have just come back and said, no, I don't think I have any questions. I think I'm ready to go, which just blows my mind, but it really happens. So hold that space too. But it's so when people ask that question, this is usually when people can feel that resistance in the sales conversation. This is what we were talking about before. It's like you can immediately feel that resistance, like, oh gosh, here it comes, and you kind of just want to pull back and like end the conversation. But I'm gonna make it really simple for you. Here's a little bonus tip. Say this one simple sentence when somebody asks you what it costs. The investment for the benefit they're seeking, the investment for losing 10 pounds in this coaching program is, and then say the amount. That's the sentence. From there, you just shush. Don't say another word. Allow the silence. Just allow the silence. Don't step on the silence because your prospect is processing. And if we jump in because the silence is awkward for us, it becomes disempowering for them because it's their job to feel empowered to then say yes or say no or come up with another objection. And a lot of times when we start justifying the cost or rationalizing the cost, we're rescuing them from their own uncomfortability, and of course our own too, but it's essential that you hold the space for them to process and that they're the next ones to say something. If it gets like totally unbearable and you've like duct taped your mouth and you've done everything you can to not speak and you can't handle it any longer, the next question you could ask is this something you're ready to get started with? So it's really just keeping the ball fully in your prospect's court and empowering them to make a decision. That's our only goal in these conversations, is to have our prospect make a solid decision that's based on their values and what they want and not on their fears. And if that decision is no and it's a conscious choice, that is a fantastic service that you just gave that prospect. So those are the critical pieces of any sales conversation, and it allows your prospects to truly see where they are and where they want to be, and it's setting the stage for them to realize how much they really need you and what you're offering, and it creates that tension and that urgency which is needed for your client to finally make the change in their life that they've been craving, and that you are the perfect one to help them do that. So while having concrete enrollment conversation and having the structure is really great, so this is the strategy, right? I think it's really important to share with you the real truth about what's going to determine your success in sales and ultimately business, because if we suck at sales, we don't really have a business. And the truth is, like I mentioned earlier, sales is an inside job. And I mentioned before, I had to excel at two things, and my clients have to excel at two things. Everybody has to excel at two things to really run a successful business. And one of those things is the inner work. And as coaches, we do a lot of work around this. And we really think we got it pretty well figured out. This is the one area that, coaches really excel in. And I know that it would be much easier if there were this magic bullet or the secret method or just knowing the strategy was enough. But the truth is that whether or not those things work depends solely on who you are and who you become. And the ability to make more money in your business truly lies within. So what I've learned is that success in sales and becoming financially free comes from who you are, what you believe, how you think, not what you think, how you think, especially how you think under stress, and when the money's not flowing in, when you're in an ebb instead of a flow in your business, where you direct your energy, why you have faith in yourself, or in other words, all those underlying beliefs and subconscious thoughts that determine whether or not miracles are going to unfold in your business and in your life and in your ability to transform and empower others' lives. Is this making sense? I'm going to dig into this mindset stuff now. It's going to start getting deep. Are we ready for it? Hands up. Perfect. All right. So I've actually identified a spectrum of the inner game of sales. And this works based on work done by Bruce D. Snyder on energy leadership. And it's essentially the inner energy of sales. And while I would love to dive really deep into this, it's challenging because each and every one of you are so unique, and how you show up on the spectrum is very different than anybody else. So I'm going to give you a general overview, but the truth is how it plays out for you is different than how it plays out for anybody else on this call and how it plays out for me. This is like your own personal sales success DNA. And the research around this process shows that where you fall on this spectrum determines exactly how successful you're going to be and how satisfied you're going to be in your business. The good news is that with awareness and support, you can change and move along the spectrum as fast as you want, and therefore changing how quickly you achieve your big vision, your mission, and your life's purpose. So generally speaking, there are 7 different levels of the inner game of sales and business in general. And I know I usually have a lot of coaches who are trained in the same methodology from IPEC coaching, and stick with me here because you're going to get some insight into how powerful this tool is and how you can use it in a way that aligns with your target audience. So stick with me because you're going to get some really great ideas starting to flow in around how to use this model within whatever your area of expertise is. So the more energy you have on the low end, the more likely you're struggling in your business and not getting the results you want. And the more energy you have on the high end, the more effortless and easy business feels. And also, the more flow you're experiencing, financial flow, client flow, that you're able to bring in as a result of approaching sales and your business from a really confident and authentic place. So let me real quickly paint a picture of what each end of the spectrum looks like. And again, I'm simplifying a very complex and intricate model just for illustrative purposes, but we're going to do the best we can because it's so personal. So here are some of the things that people who fall on the lower end of the spectrum are experiencing. They love helping people but hate asking for the sale and often avoid it at all costs. They are afraid of making sales calls and picking up the phone because they don't want to hear the word no. It can feel personal when people don't want to work with them. Maybe you don't like networking because it feels uncomfortable and conversations feel forced, or you avoid following up with people after networking events. Who's guilty of that? Like I could just, I'm not even going to put you on the spot. Avoid following up with people after networking events or after making an initial contact. This is also where you may question your own ability to own a corner of the marketplace and your expertise. I call this the who am I syndrome. Who am I to think I can do X, Y, Z? I don't have all that background or that expertise or the credentials. People feel inadequate or behind when they look at the success that others are experiencing, can have that constant mind chatter and self-talk that can interfere with taking action. And of course, this is where sales feels pushy and awkward. And the biggest thing is this is where you'll hold back your authentic point of view. And so each and every one of us has a really strong truth that we want to share and use our business, our point of view to get across, and using our business as a vehicle. And when we're in the lower ends, we don't step into our truth because we're afraid of how it will be received or if we're going to turn people off. And so it's kind of like walking on eggshells in business and not fully being able to step into whatever we believe, whether people agree with it or not. I just thought of a new tagline. I once heard, I don't even know what this equates to, but do you want to be liked or do you want to make money? That's my new tagline. It just came to me. Okay. Anyways, I'm a little distracted. Entrepreneurial tendency. Anybody else have that tendency? A little distraction here and there. Easy to be veered off course. All right. So in the middle, this is where sales can become a little bit more manipulative. So this is where you can clearly see that your service benefits your clients, but there's still so much attachment to the sale and thinking about our own benefits first that we know how to convince people that it's in their best interest, but there's just still that ego playing in there that it's still mostly about what we want to get, or we need to pay this certain bill, or we need clients for XYZ. So we get really attached to the sale still in that 3 area. This is also where people can be over accommodating and not fully, charging what they're worth, undercharging, or constantly changing the rates, or putting up with stuff that doesn't feel necessarily right, or having a hard time really setting boundaries with clients and with prospects. Prospects who want to negotiate, on your prices, and having a hard time setting some of those boundaries. And then as you move up to the higher end of the spectrum, this is where sales and marketing comes easy. New ideas are constantly flooding in about how to help more people, and you're immediately taking action and implementing those ideas. You love helping people. You fearlessly network and find speaking opportunities to share your message. By the way, there's nothing else that's going to bring in clients the fastest other than speaking and networking. You effortlessly attract clients and prospects into your business. People seek you out. They want to learn more about what you do. You claim your worth, you have higher fees, and a lot of times the higher fees position you in the marketplace, create a stronger position for you already, so you attract a higher level client as a result. You feel like life and business is on purpose. You create partnerships, true win-win relationships. You see opportunities everywhere. And in this higher end of the spectrum, you're willing to take risks in your business and your life because you fully trust yourself and your higher power to make things work. So I'm curious, where do you think you're falling on the spectrum when you think about 1 through 7? You go in and out of these all day, every day, but at the end of the day, if this were like stocks in a stock market and they went up and down all day, what do you think your average would be at the end of the day with how much you're showing up in sales? 4.5, 4, 2, 3, 4.5 and 6, 5, 4, 5. Yes, awesome. Struggling with, I gotta go up here. Struggling going from customers coming to me approaching them. Great insight. About a 3 or 4, 2, 3. Awesome. Yeah, across the board, right? I mean, you can really see how different aspects of this can show up in various areas of sales and of your business. And it's a lot more in depth than this, so this is a pretty high-level overview. So how do you think your business and your life would be different if you were predominantly on the high end of the spectrum? What do you think would be different? Any thoughts? Or what would be able to quit my corporate job? Yes. Clients would approach me. More clients, more fulfillment, more money, wouldn't be a victim, would be empowered. Awesome answers. Less anxiety, way less stress, more comfortable with self and business, confidence. Yes. I'd empower others more. Awesome. Oh my gosh, you guys' responses are just blowing me away. Dead on. I always know when I'm with an extremely aware and conscious group. You'd have the number of clients you want. Absolutely. Most certainly. So before we wind down with questions, I just want to share an incredible opportunity to take what you've learned deeper, especially on this inner game of sales. While the information I've shared on today's training is going to help you get started in closing more sales, just those simple little things can really increase your sales conversions, the right questions at the right time, being quiet after you list the investment, all of those pieces are going to help you show up more confidently in the sales conversation. But as I mentioned earlier, my experience is that each and every entrepreneur has a very unique sales type. In fact, the things that are robbing you of closing more sales and getting more clients is very specific to you. And your beliefs and your mindsets around sales and money are really different than anyone else based on your own life journey. And this is just embedded in your thoughts. So while I shared a lot of a one-size-fits-all model, the reality is what you do with the information and how you interpret it is not the same as the person who's like virtually sitting next to you. It would be cool. You know what they got to do? I'm gonna go on another entrepreneurial rant distraction. They should do that on these webinars so I can see where everybody's at the East Coast and the West Coast, so I could see where everybody's at in the world. That would be so fun, because then I would see who's virtually sitting next to you. Anyways, okay, another little sidetrack. So so while this isn't a one-size-fits-all model, there's nobody else like you, and even though the strategy I shared is a one-size-fits-all, how different you are and miraculously individual you are, you each have blind spots that are also unique to you. And I guarantee that there are blind spots in there. It's just our human nature. We can't see them. We just can't see them. That's why they're called blind spots. And it's exactly those blind spots that are interfering with your ability to make more money in your business and to make a bigger impact on your clients, because if they don't say yes, then we can't help them, right? So because of this, I've actually discovered a really powerful formula that identifies exactly where you fall on the sales success factor. And the formula starts with a very revealing 20-minute online assessment and a 90-minute business breakthrough coaching session with me, where I show you exactly where you're sabotaging your sales, where you're repelling clients, and how to connect to that confidence, powerful and authentic self to close more sales and make more money and make a bigger impact. So this formula, as you can see, it's like you get an exact breakout, especially under stress, of how those different levels of sales mindset are showing up for you. So in this formula, you can get crystal clear about what's possible for your business and the level of income, impact, and independence that you want to accomplish. You're going to discover the biggest thing stopping you from closing more sales and getting more clients, those blind spots I just mentioned. You'll identify the most powerful actions and a concrete plan that's going to move you to the monthly income you deserve and around claiming your worth. And no matter what, you're going to leave that 90-minute session with the confidence of knowing exactly what to do to create the business of your dreams in the fastest way possible. So if you're into personal development and learning about yourself and growing your business, which is why you're here, I can guarantee you've never experienced something as intuitive and revealing as this. It's literally going to be holding a mirror up to all your core beliefs, thoughts and perceptions that are driving your life and your business, especially around money and finances, which is underneath everything that has to do with sales and business, really. And understanding the universal laws of money as energy. So all you have to do to learn more about this opportunity is go to explosivesalesformula.com, and it's a very limited opportunity. The typical investment for the Explosive Sales Formula and having a personal 90-minute session with me is $597, but for the first people who take a risk and capitalize on this opportunity, I'm offering the assessment and follow-up 90-minute session for $147. If you decide to move forward with this step, whether we work together or not, you will absolutely leave that call focused and clear about how to close more sales and take your business to the next level. Again, you can find this special offer at explosivesalesformula.com. And I just want to say again, I'm going to go forward here for a minute. If you're an IPEC coach or graduate and you're familiar with this process, you may be thinking that you already know about this, and this doesn't really pertain to you because you've already done all this. And if that describes you, I really want you to remain open to the opportunity, because you and I both know that the debriefs that you did while you were being trained aren't nearly as powerful as they could be. And it's just simply because as you're implementing them, you're just trying to learn the tool and not paying as close attention to the power and the impact that it can have on you personally. So if you want to unleash that power of experiencing this for yourself and explore how to use this same process and tool and personalize it for your clients, this is the best way to experience it. So I've taken a number of IPEC grads and students through this exact process, and coaches like Valerie, who just shared her experience with this process as well. So I just wanted to throw that out for anybody who's an IPEC grad or student and isn't really sure if this is the right fit for them. But no matter what, you're going to find this incredibly valuable and powerful. So I really encourage you to sign up for one of these sessions. I only have 11 spots available. If you want to make more money in your business and you want to talk to somebody, this is your opportunity. It's hard to find really solid coaching advice and insight in this price range. It's almost virtually impossible to find. So if you're struggling with your business and you want to get better results, I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't do this other than fear, which is completely understandable. We all have plenty of that, and it's exactly that fear that's still interfering with getting the results that you're really craving. So if we want different results, we got to do things a little differently, right? And I know it can be lonely being a solopreneur, and that can be really challenging. So this is your opportunity to get some help from me, who I've been exactly where you are, no matter where you are in your business. And if you're ambitious and committed and ready to take ninja-like action to get massive results, then this is a good fit for you. If you're not quite sure yet where you're going with your business, this isn't the best move for you. But if you just know that it's just figuring out those last few things and you're ready to go full bore ahead and you're ready to really take the action on what comes out of the session, it can transform your business very quickly. All right, so that being said, I would love to answer some questions over the next few minutes. Go ahead and enter your questions in the question box, and I'm going to go back and see what about Chris, when I was talking about who's sitting virtually next to you. Chris, I could be sitting virtually next to you. She asked, what about the Midwest? I'm in Minnesota, so I don't know where you're at, but maybe we're virtually sitting next to each other right now, although I feel like I'm sitting next to each and every one of you. All right, go ahead and enter some questions in. I'm going to go back up here. I think John had to leave, but he asked a question, so I'll answer that for him. How do you get customers, new or existing, to call you back and move forward with a buying decision? That's a great question, and a huge challenge that we have, right, especially in the follow-up. And I'm going to answer it for John because I'm sure that more people have this question too. But it really boils down to, well, two ways. One, at the end of that enrollment conversation, if people truly need more time to either talk to a spouse or if you can't move them into a decision on that call, a lot of times, again, we don't like to keep our prospects in indecision because it's just kind of beating themselves up, and we don't want to play a part in that play. So a lot of times what I'll say is, what do you need to know to help you make a decision? So it's just some further coaching at the end of the call. What do you need to know to help you make a decision? And I would even say something like, I know indecision is a form of self-abuse, and I don't want you to have to suffer making this decision. So what I would recommend, either just go with your gut right now, and if you need if you need to talk to a spouse or somebody else, I'll follow up with you in 2 days, and then you set them up to tell you exactly what they want to accomplish in that 2 days. If it's figuring out financials, or if it's figuring out finding the money, or if it's talking to their spouse and getting their spouse on board, just be really clear about, okay, so in those next 48 hours, you're going to do X, Y, Z, and I'll follow up with you to see what your answer is at that time. So it's really using those strong boundaries again and being really clear about what they need to come to a decision. And sometimes if they remain in indecision, you make the decision for them. And other times it just takes, if they're not calling you back, just continually following up and following your gut. I have one coach that would say follow up every 2 days until they say quit calling me. And that doesn't feel right to me, so I kind of follow more my gut and my heart, and I just pay attention to, when some time has passed, and I kind of use my intuition to determine how much they really need my service, and then I continually follow up based on that. So, but keep following up. Things come up. I have somebody I need to talk to about setting up a Disney trip with my family, and he's called a number of times, but it's not my huge urgent thing right this minute, but I'm going to call him back sometime, but he's probably wondering the same thing. Why isn't she calling me back? So we just get busy. It's nothing personal, so it's remembering to not take any of those no answers or not calling backs personal as well. All right. I think that answers that one. Oh gosh, that was way far away. Okay. I'm getting there. I'm going way down. All right. Is it better to talk face-to-face or via phone? Great question, Karen. If you can do face-to-face, that's outstanding. I mean, I certainly would say that you'll close more sales face-to-face if you have an ability to be face-to-face, but it's certainly not a requirement. So I would say, generally speaking, conversion rates for myself and my clients, conversion rates do go up a little bit higher face-to-face versus phone, but you can still have an outstanding conversation, and you can really even just ask the prospect what they would prefer, what they would feel more comfortable with, or what would be more convenient for them, and follow their lead. How do you get an initial call with a prospect? Yeah, this is the whole other arena of business, right? The marketing piece. There's marketing and sales. This is asked by Julie, and that's one of the biggest challenges in business, right? Is pulling in leads. And so I mentioned a little bit earlier, the two most effective ways to pull in leads, especially when you're just starting, is to, I mean, there's a process in this. You have to be really clear about who you help, and you have to be really clear about the results that you help people get. And so the clearer your message, the easier time you're going to have. And getting clarity around those two things, again, sometimes it takes, getting an outside perspective or working with a coach or a mentor to help you get really clear on that, because that's the first two steps, is being clear on those two things. And then from there, it's like shouting your message from the mountaintop wherever your ideal clients are, which is usually around networking and speaking. And those are the two fastest ways. And when it comes to just getting that initial call, or that prospect to be interested in a deeper conversation, as you're connecting with people in networking, you literally just ask to connect to that. A lot of times networking events are really kind of busy, and you can just tell somebody that that you really enjoyed the short conversation you had, and you would love to take it further, or to have a deeper conversation with them about them and what they do. And you literally go into, you don't even have to call it a strategy session or a sales conversation or a discovery session in those circumstances. You just go into the conversation and start asking those questions about their life, and about just generally building that relationship. And then you can move into some of their pain points and some of their desires, and if it's a match for how you help people, you can make your offer. But more importantly, just initiating that you'd like to have a conversation in a place that's not so busy, and to set up a time for coffee or a phone call or whatever it may be, and then explore the relationship from there. If you're doing speaking, it's a lot easier, because you'll just make an offer at the end of your speaking opportunity to do a free complimentary session or enrollment conversation. Come up with a fancy name that would really speak to your audience, and make that offer at the end of any speaking opportunity, and make it really easy for people to take advantage of it, and benefit focused, and you'll have people grabbing onto it. turn conversations into cash. How do you, Sherry's wondering, how do you decide how much advice to give? Great question. And it really, you know, you can just feel it in an enrollment conversation, can't you? It's like you have this prospect that you know you can help, and you've got like the whole answer for them just ready to unload. And I mean, we're all guilty of it. I've thrown up on so many of my prospects with ideas and insights and things to help them get them to where they want to go. But it's another one of those where if you have to cover your mouth and just kind of hush-hush, but really just focus on what are the 2 things that I can give them right now that will help them move forward. And that's why we use that nice concrete number of 2 things, so that we can prevent ourselves from really just giving it all away in that first call and overwhelming our prospect. So just 2 things, 2 easy pieces of advice that you know could help them based on their biggest pain points and their biggest desires. And hopefully that helps. So not much advice giving on that enrollment conversation. I have people, Shane says, I have people every day telling me they don't know about my services. I struggle finding price-effective marketing. And Shane, so that, again, we're going back into lead generation, which is the first step. We need the marketing to pull in the sales, and I have a whole nother training on the marketing and lead generation piece. But it really does boil down to, there's, of course, you know, traditional advertising, and I mean, there's so many different paths that we can go for lead generation. But again, sponsorships, speaking, networking, sponsorships. So if there's expos or places that your ideal clients and customers are frequenting, you just want to make sure that you're there. And a lot of times, to really get our message, so it's investing in those types of things. And if you're investing in like some of the traditional kind of old school advertising things that's throwing a message out to, it's not really niched down. So that's sometimes a lot of the challenge with finding price effective marketing, is to make sure that you're niched down enough and that you're only putting your message in front of the people that your product or service is going to serve. And that's what gets really expensive, is when we're not quite narrow enough and we're trying to throw our message out to too many people, it's hard to direct our marketing dollars. So that's really the purpose of niching. You can still help absolutely anybody and everybody, but the underlying purpose of niching is just to know where to direct your marketing dollars so they're more effective, and how to create a message that's more effective. But yeah, so networking, speaking, sponsorships, the online stuff is going to be a little bit more complex and a little bit more of I guess I shouldn't say a crapshoot, but again, you just need to be that much more clear about your niche and your target audience and their desires and their pain points to move online, because it's such a broad arena. Hope that helps. Do you meet over Skype? Kristen is wondering. Yes, I do some meeting over Skype. That answers that. How do you target market over Facebook and other social media? Great question, Kristen. Facebook ads are incredibly effective if you know how to do them, and really, really powerful way. Again, if you're really targeted and niched and you know exactly who your audience is, it's very, very easy to target thousands upon thousands of people with Facebook advertising. That's a pretty in-depth question. I can just tell you it's incredibly effective. I moved, when I had that first 5-figure month in my business, after 3 months, it was when I moved more out of the traditional networking and face-to-face speaking stuff and into the online arena. But again, it takes a lot of cost investment, and there's a return, but it does take capital on the front end to pull off the online marketing aspect of things. And you can find all kinds of stuff on Facebook advertising. I know I did another training on the online marketing funnel and drawing clients in through social media and Facebook ads. As far as anything else on social media, I haven't tried much else with like LinkedIn or even posts in my fan page. If you go to my fan page, there's not many posts there. And it's just simply because we can get bright, shiny object syndrome and try to find so many paths to generate leads. And all you need to do is find 2 paths that work outstanding for you and do them over and over and over again. So it's just find two things that work and do them over and over and over again until or unless they don't work anymore. Yeah, so today's session was presented through a Facebook pop-up and a Facebook ad. So like I said, my two primary methodologies at this point are speaking online through webinars, and the lead generation is, of course, through Facebook ads, and then I still go to high-end networking events to just stay connected to the rest of the world, because that was one thing that I really missed when I went solely online. So Facebook, if people are interested in learning more about Facebook advertising and are ready to branch into that and have the capital to invest in it, feel free to shoot me an email and I can send you a previous webinar that I did that kind of goes through the outline of that if you're really ready to explore that. And I got a few people saying I got to sign off. Time to go. Very helpful. Thank you for the feedback. Anybody have any last minute questions or comments or thoughts? Or anything I can support you with? I've got at least a couple more minutes here. How much capital is good for Facebook? Great question, Julie. So basically, if you can get leads from $3 to $4, meaning opt-ins, for $3 to $4 from Facebook, you're doing pretty good. So $3 to $4 a lead, and that's just getting somebody's email address. That doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to convert into clients. But so if you want to put 20 people on your list, you'd be looking at $60 to $80, and so that's the cost for running some really solid Facebook ads. I'm sure that there are people, I mean, I'm not an absolute expert in Facebook ads, so I'm sure that there are people out there who can get less for a lead, but I do hear that when I speak to other digital marketers, they say that $3 a lead is really outstanding, so I would say $3 to $4 a lead. Awesome. Great questions. Great questions. I see okay, I see a private question coming in, and Kristen, just shoot me an email, and we can talk about that. But shoot me an email, and we can talk about how that would work. Oh, I'm going to give you my email just because I don't know when I'm going to get this down. But if anybody wants to reach out to me by email to grab that the online sales funnel, the online client attraction webinar that I did a couple months back, my email address is stacy@stacyhartman.com, STACYHARTMANN, 2 N's. Stacy@stacyhartman.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know what you want from me. I can send you a replay of that previous webinar if you're interested in Facebook advertising. And then Kristen, to answer your question, shoot me an email at stacy@stacyhartman.com, and we can talk about what that would look like as well. Perfect. Well, it looks like I have answered most of the questions, and I just want to say thank you for taking advantage of sharing your time with me today. And for those of you who are taking advantage of that limited space offer, congratulations on making a firm decision based on your highest held values and the commitment to growing your business. And for those of you who aren't quite ready to do that, thank you so much for investing time in yourself and in your business today. And I absolutely wish you the best of luck on your future endeavors. I believe in each and every one of you and your commitment to your business and your success. And so until next time, this is goodbye.